Welcome everyone to our meeting today, and can we start it with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now start with a roll call. Councilpersons Lowe, Chittister, Welter, Bailey are present. Bangs is in transit, I'm assuming?
Yes, he is.
Okay.
He said he'll be here
He'll be here
momentarily.
soon. How about approval of the minutes from September 19th and October 4th?
So we're going to do it separately or together?
Let's do them separately. Let's start with September 19th.
Okay, I'll make that motion to go ahead and approve as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. October 3rd.
Now, I wasn't at that meeting, so I don't know.
I'll make the motion to approve those.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Clerk's report.
Okay, the candidate information session, we had, it was October 4th, first Saturday of the month. We had about 20 people come. It was really good content, a lot of great questions. The first part of it focused on campaign finance reports. We wanted to make sure that we had the session early enough for those who are having to submit reports tomorrow. And so they had a lot of really great questions. There was a combined fundraiser that happened recently. I think on both parties were doing it, and so they went over how that should look on a report, because it was much different than the way it had originally planned. So that probably saved quite a few people some headaches. So that was good. The last part focused on signage, and again, great information, a lot of questions, and everybody seemed to enjoy it. We had the video posted, so if anyone's interested in viewing 2 hours of it, then you can see it on YouTube. The next thing that I have is that with the new legislation that was passed just in time for the 2019 election for requiring bipartisan teams to deliver the election equipment, that caused a headache across the state because it's not easy to find people. Historically, Porter County has used the highway department in order to help deliver. It's fiscally beneficial for us. We don't have to go searching and spending more money. So luckily, we were able to have a workaround, and with both county chairmen approval, we can go and keep everything as status quo, just like we would normally do it. So we have obtained both county chairman's permission, and so we will continue to utilize the highway department. It's fiscally better for all of us all the way around, and it's a good partnership that we've had. We haven't had any problems, so why fix something that isn't broke? The next thing I have is...
And Jessica, I'm sorry if we talked about that before. So did we have to find like one Democratic employee and one Republican who happened to be...
Well, we would have to pay them.
Right.
Because we'd have to find them.
Okay.
And then we have to, I mean, it's a long day unloading 200 plus express votes and, you know, all these different DS200s. They get heavy after a while. They're
Sure.
just awkward to move, so you have to find somebody who's willing to do that in a safe but quick way in order to make sure everything's set up. Yeah, climbing in and out of the giant trucks. I mean, it's pretty physical. So luckily the highway department has always been willing to help us out, and they were continuing, but the way the law was, we were going to have to run the voting history of every highway department, and that's kind of invasive. And so luckily both chairmen right on board, sent one email, got responses immediately saying no problem. So we'll get their signatures and be good to go.
Good.
The next thing I have is the budget hearing. The first one went relatively well. We made some concessions on some different parts of the budget, but all in all, it's looking good for us. We have a county council meeting after this meeting where I'm just going and asking for basic inter-fund transfers in order to pay bills that are going to be coming up for the general election, and then also the final hearing is tonight. So I was asked to bring some documentation as to why I requested a certain dollar amount for poll workers. I have that set up. I've got some other documentation that was requested, so I don't anticipate it going awry at all. It should be fine. And then we have a lovely model up here. With the purchase of the new equipment, we have some, what we think is better tools, the blue bins that I'm sure you guys have always all heard a lot about. They're more durable and they're easier for transporting. They fit right in the machine, so we deliver them. The inspectors don't have to lug 2 or 3 suitcases to the precinct with them in the morning. So we have a surplus of suitcases. If anybody is interested, they're $10, and you can contact my office, or you can contact or the clerk's office at the courthouse, or else the elections office down here. But $10 a piece. They do have wheels. They move. They don't swivel. But for $10, wheels is a good thing. Yes, yep, and they expand. You can put lots of stuff in there. That's all I have for the clerk's report.
Thank you. Director's report?
We're about at our halfway point, too, in suitcases. I think
We've
we've gotten rid of at
lot
least half of them
We
now.
had more people come in today.
I have 20 in my car. You can only...
That you bought?
No, I can only
Stop
unload.
delivering.
Yeah, I'm a delivery service, so I've taken them over to the Portage Courthouse to unload some. I've taken them to the courthouse, and the clipping them together works wonderfully.
But now all that are left don't have clips anymore.
No.
We could offer gift wrapping for $5.
Hey, there we go.
You want to go first, Jane?
You can go.
Okay. Early voting, of course, as you guys know, started October 8th. We've had almost 1,200 voters already through the mail, early voting, travel board, a couple of email voters that we have for the military and overseas. We are 3 times where we were in 2015 in the same week. So that's really good news for our early voting. I know it's kind of hard to compare because of contested races and primaries or in cities and towns. As far as that goes, on how many were in 2015 and how many are now. But every year, our early voting numbers keep going up. So we help, I think with the 4 locations versus the 3 and 5 for next year, I think our early voting is really taking off a lot. So people are really liking it. They're loving the machines downstairs. 850 of those votes have been in-person votes so far. So, Valpo and Portage are our heavy hitters. Chesterton and Hebron are more on the lower end, but Hebron's doing better than it has, so
Right.
we had almost 60 voters in Hebron already, so yay. The other day they had like 8. Yeah, yeah, one day. Their high is 16.
Really, in the day?
Yeah.
Are the machines working okay, or is there any issues?
Nope, knock on wood, thanks for putting that out there. So far, everything's worked just fine.
Did we get all the poll workers we need from both sides?
I'm going to go to that.
Okay.
So,
And conquer.
Yeah.
first, real quick, the pre-election reports, it is due tomorrow at noon, but we just wanted to update that we still need about 35 of them.
In addition,
Yes, counting those. Like, there was 37 and now there's 35. So, we're about halfway, but that's still quite a few candidates that are left to turn it in a short time. So, a lot of them are hopefully newer candidates that don't realize that they have to.
or that they can turn it in early.
Right. Yeah,
They
usually
might
the last
think
day
they
is
have to.
popular regardless, so. On to poll workers, we needed 244 total. I think there's 20 or so left that have to be verified. So we're very close to completely full with workers. We've been sending out the links all week to the training classes, trying to get them to sign up for classes. We've already had about 160 of them sign up. So now we're going through the ones that have not signed up yet and calling them to make sure that we have a good email address for them. If we need to assist them in signing up, we're doing that for them. So that's pretty good numbers for, the link was just available last week. So it's having a good turnout so far, and we're pretty full pretty early too, I feel
Yeah.
like. Both chairmen complied with the lists early and have been helpful, so.
So you are calling them if they don't have a good email address, or their email address bounces back, so it's...
Yeah, because it's surprising that I went out and sent them all out in one day, and that night we had probably almost 100. Like, they were right on it,
Yeah.
signing up right away. And then today, we were calling them, saying, hey, we noticed you haven't signed up yet, you know, they're going fast. Again, about 50 this morning, just from calling them. So even the reminder is really helping them. So we're going to just keep going through, and if we left a message and they still don't sign up, we're going to call them back, hey, is there a
Keep
better
hounding them.
email?
Yeah, you gotta keep hounding them.
Right.
And we're
It's still
going
a
to,
relatively new process.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
some
they
of them
still
didn't
need to
work
get the
last
full
time
program.
too, so they're not really familiar to know the
Oh,
whole.
I really do have to
Mhm.
sign up.
Yeah.
and we have what's called our prospective poll worker list of people that called in or emailed in saying they want to work. So if they're not placed, the girls are still going to contact them after it's all done and saying, hey, sorry, we didn't have a place for you this time, but we will keep you on the list so that we don't get that, you know, hey, I
wanted
was
to
in
work,
contact,
yeah.
why not? kind
Well,
of.
it's kind of a head start for 2020.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's what I told all of them, too. I told them, I said, if you don't make it this time, because we consolidated a lot of, there's only 40 boards and stuff, don't feel that you're being neglected or
Right.
excluded, but I will need you in 2020.
Right, for sure.
So, you know, some of them didn't have email address, so, I mean, like I said, you gotta call them. There's a couple
Yeah.
older people, they just don't have the smartphone or the
And when we get
computer
them on
and
the
stuff like that.
phone, we will even do it through our own elections email, just so that we know that it went through and processed, and then we'll let them know, okay, you're officially signed up for this class at this date, so we keep them on the phone and do it for them if they don't have emails.
Yeah, and just so you know, we told every one of them, you will be contacted by the county. Do not just assume that you get to go to class and stuff like this. I said, you will get a class schedule and stuff like this. Now, it went out a little bit later, you know, because we did it in waves. I think we've got 3 waves of
Right.
poll workers from me.
Right.
So we specifically told them not to just show up. We told them point blank, you got to sign up. You got to call in or tell them which ones you're going to go to.
And we only had that
It happens
issue with
every
the
day.
It's a
class.
relatively new process, they're not used to that,
Yeah.
they're not used to having to sign up for a class
Right.
before, you know, it was just, you know, kind of
So if they
come.
find it online, they're like, oh, I'm just going to appear. So we had a gentleman that did that, and he wasn't upset by it. He was
Yeah.
just, he showed up, and we just said, we're really sorry, but you have to register, because we had to cancel that one.
Yeah, there was a couple
It was-
classes going to cancel Columbus Day and then the other day, too,
Yeah.
and stuff like
Yeah.
this, you know.
Today, to this morning's and this afternoon's classes, we only had 3 people that signed up for each class, so.
Mhm.
But looking forward, we're getting a good turnout in all the classes for the next few weeks, so we don't expect to have to cancel anymore. It was just the link went out and
Yeah.
it didn't even give them a full week
Right.
to prepare. So a lot of people were planning farther in advance and booking a class for 2 weeks from now versus in 3
Well,
days.
just like we did for the
Yeah.
primary, if it comes down to it, we will add a couple more classes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'll add a Saturday class, we'll,
Right. And we
Another
should
evening.
have the capacity to
mhm.
have more than
Yeah,
enough
we went
room
to
for what's
larger
left.
locations this time.
Yeah, good.
Instead of the smaller rooms. It's
Good.
better for questions and answers.
Chesterton was really popular, but their room was
Mhm.
small, so we moved to the center next door, so now we have the capacity to train 100 at once if we want to.
Okay. Okay. Only one evening class? Is that what you guys
No,
had
we
set up?
we tried to offer a fair range, so if there was refresher classes, we tried to have a morning, afternoon, and night option at every location for every type of class.
Okay.
And the same thing with the new, we try to do a morning, afternoon, and new for the new poll worker class
So
at
there
every
there
location.
should be 2 time frames
Okay.
at least for
Mhm.
each, one new, one refresher in the morning, one new, but we're finding too that there's a lot of returning people, so our refresher class,
It's going to be more full.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's more
definitely.
popular than the new
Yeah.
class.
I tried to
so.
split it up. I mean, thinking ahead in 2020, I wanted some veterans.
right.
And I also wanted some new people. I figured if I'm going to put a new person in there, this would be the perfect election
Mhm.
to break in on. and
Well, we
stuff,
have to
you know.
also think too, that people that are signing up for the refreshers just did it in May, so they know the process, they know to go online and sign up. The new people, we might have to kind of go, hey, this is our process now, so maybe we're not seeing as high of a number from the new either
Because of
for
that.
that reason.
Mm.
But we're still, on top of it, contacting them daily to try to
Good.
get them all signed up.
And you guys got a bench for election day in case somebody calls last minute, I got the flu, or,
Yeah, we have a
Okay.
good prospect list
Yeah.
of people that have contacted us in the
It's
meantime.
a few pages.
yeah. And then I apologize, I should have got you some on, election day workers. I told Cher said she would work,
Mhm.
you know, and,
Betty, the early voting Betty.
Betty Roush?
She said she'd do it too.
Okay. Yeah, I told every one of them that get a hold of, Jessica or you guys, and let you know if they wanted to work that day and
Well,
stuff.
they seem to like they've gone through the absentee process, so it's
Yeah.
only fair that we offer to them to be able to finish the process of,
Mhm.
the count, the central count. Plus, it's only twice a year you get to play with that jumbo machine.
I know.
Everybody really likes it.
They do.
Yeah, yeah. I told some of them it'd be menial, it'd be opening envelopes and, folding and this and that and stuff and everything. I mean, they're not gonna do the feeding or anything like that, so.
But it's a close group, they, they like
Yeah.
seeing each other, and it's like one last hurrah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
They have a good time.
So hopefully they all volunteered. So.
Yeah, there's a couple of them, like Monica's working the election day, and I think
Yeah.
Dawn is, so they
Yeah.
didn't, but the other two sites said that they would work,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, they saw that inspector's pay and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
They jumped on
Yeah,
it.
versus that. Yeah.
They like working
It's
together.
about the money,
They've got
yeah.
the same board, and
Yeah.
they've worked together for so many years.
Yeah,
They like doing it together too, so
yeah.
it's good to have variety.
Mhm.
You guys have anything else?
I think that's it. Do you have any questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Campaign finance reports.
No update besides what they said. We still have that one lingering report. We can't do anything about it, so I'm just gonna go with start saying no update, because it's the same as it's been.
Okay. Online campaign finance submission update.
Okay, so this has been a fun one. We went through the webinars, we found what we really liked, then I emailed downstate just to get the final stamp of approval, and they said no. So how it works according to state code is we can accept finance reports in person, by fax, and by email. So the state candidates, PACs, things like that, they get a special waiver, they're submitting directly to the state, they're allowed to use their online submission program. So I have submitted to the Clerks Association for our legislative goals for this year to adapt that code to allow for online submission. That's really two facets. One, fax is beginning to get obsolete, less and less people are using it. And so to have the widget that automatically, does everything for you, it's ideal for the candidates, ideal for the office, everyone's going to have a clean report. The other part of that is that it was brought to our attention that when something is scanned into email or handed to us and then we scan it and upload it, it is not able to be read by screen readers. So the visually impaired have no way of knowing what these campaign finance reports say because that type of PDF is turned into an image, and the screen readers can't read the image. So all of our county websites are, more and more, and all government websites, every website, but primarily those government entities, they want to be ADA compliant. And by having us do it this way, they're forcing us to be non-compliant. So I offered that little bit of information, so I'm really hoping that we're able to adapt the verbiage in that code to allow for online submissions. And I'll keep you updated. I'm going to keep bothering everyone that I can.
If you had the online, I guarantee you that 33 number would be down to a handful.
Exactly.
I submitted mine last Sunday.
Right, and you're able, so with the program that we are looking at, everybody would have their own login. So they can, after they have a fundraiser, they can input everything right then. After somebody gives you a check, you can input it right away. You don't have to keep track of a piece of paper that you've been writing it all in so that you can scan it and upload it later. It's just more user-friendly, it's more advanced, it's the way that the world is becoming, and if state candidates and PACs can do it directly to the states, then there's really no reason that local candidates can't do it. So, like I said, I submitted it to the Clerks Association for our legislative goals, and I've whispered in the ear of some other people, so hopefully we can get that adjusted in the next session. That's all I have on that one.
Employee status.
When we hired the director and the assistant director, both of them were hired with the understanding that they would be exempt employees. So no comp time, no overtime, just a smile and thank you. And they both knew that when they interviewed, but we never made it official with this board. So it's been asked of me to have a vote designating their positions exempt. They follow under all the categories. They reach everything according to the litmus test, but it's something that we need to address one way or the other formally.
So you just want a motion that the director and assistant director position are considered exempt positions, not eligible for overtime
Or comp time.
or comp time benefits? So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Carries.
Okay.
Date for election certification?
The last day, or the deadline to certify the election is Monday, November 18th at noon. The deadline to provide information for the provisional ballot is Friday, the 15th at noon. So we need to set a date and a time that we would like to post it.
So that's the 15th?
We look at the 15th.
Yeah, the
but like
15th at
15th at
noon.
noon, I think is what we typically
Right.
have always done.
What day is that,
It's a Friday.
It's a
Friday.
Friday.
Okay.
Okay, and then would we like that to serve as our November meeting, or do you want to go ahead and meet the next week anyway?
Kill two birds with one stone.
I agree
Yeah,
with
I would
that,
think
yeah.
so. I don't think there's going to be anything after that anyway, so,
No, just want to make sure it's on the calendar.
yeah.
Okay, so then we're going to certify the election, and that will be our election board meeting, Friday, November 15th at noon.
And then we're vacating the November 21st meeting then?
Correct.
Utility vehicle purchase?
Okay, so due to a few factors, our budget is projected to have excess funds in it this year. And during the primary election, we were very fortunate, we were able to use the coroner's van to help us move election equipment to classes and anywhere else we needed it to. When we had a booth at the Porter County Fair, the maintenance department was, again, very helpful and helped us deliver equipment. Currently, we are renting a vehicle in order to deliver machines to classes because we think that's, the benefit of having the classes is the hands-on training with the equipment. So we need to have a vehicle large enough to get that equipment there. And also, we rent a vehicle every time we deliver the early vote machines. And with our excess funds, we have enough to purchase our own vehicle. It would also be used for other plans in the future. We would like to turn it into a mobile vote machine. So we'd be if we get it all approved and processed in time for 2020, we may be one of the few counties, if not the only county in Indiana that is doing that. So how it would look is we would be able to stand up the machines inside the vehicle, and we would have electricity, so we'd have the e-poll book. It would just be another absentee location. It would just move. And as long as it is advertised the exact same way that early voting is advertised, then we can go to a football game and people could vote there. We could go to a supermarket and people could vote there. If there's another big community thing going on, we could be there. We can use it for voter registration drives, and we wouldn't really, we wouldn't have to pay to rent a vehicle to not even accomplish all of this. But we wouldn't also have to rely on other departments who, again, have been very helpful, but it's an inconvenience for them and it's an inconvenience for us to keep asking and going everywhere with our hat in hand to ask for these things. And again, we have the funds this year to do it, so I'm just kind of like giving you a heads up that within the next few months I do plan on going before the council and asking them to transfer those funds into a fund that would allow me to purchase.
Is this a use it or lose it scenario as far as your budget? And how much money are we talking?
How much is the vehicle or how much?
How much money do you have to transfer?
About $70,000.
70? How much you plan on spending on the vehicle?
50 to 60. I don't have the exact specs yet. The one spec that they sent me only had the driver's seat chair, and I want a driver's and a passenger seat because we're sending a bipartisan team, so the second person kind of needs a place to sit.
So you're talking about like a van or a cargo van or?
So, no, like a senior center mobile. So it's got the wheelchair lift, and it also has stairs to be able to walk in.
Like a Beeline bus?
Sure, yes.
You have to be able to stand in it,
Yes,
right?
yes, you have to be able to stand. And, again, we send a bipartisan team. They'd be able to vote, because when it's convenient, people vote. We're seeing that with the early vote numbers right now. And it's utility, because we would be transporting our own machines. We wouldn't have to rent vehicles on election day if a machine goes down. We don't have to worry about having a rental vehicle. We just load it up in our car, take it, we'll get it, some nice lettering so everybody knows that we're driving around, create some engagement while we're doing it. So it would really have a lot of benefits to it.
So you do an RFP then to,
Yeah, I've
Kinda
been
get-
speaking with the county attorney. I talked with Monica about it yesterday. I've talked with some members of council and with the auditor in order to get fund transfers and what the process is, what the bid process is. That's why I said within the next few months. If we are in the middle of a purchase, then we can encumber some funds.
Right.
But if we're not in the middle of that, then it would be a lose it, and it would all return to the general fund. We've already submitted a lot of funds to the general fund, so I don't feel selfish in trying to spend this money. It's already allotted for our department. It's something that's very innovative for us to be able to do, and we're not requesting excess funds. We're requesting to use the funds that were already put in our budget for this year.
then would you store it then at the garage? Is it something that would fit in the parking garage?
No,
or you could-
ideally, we would be able to store it at the highway department. We haven't exactly checked that box yet, but it'll be a surprise when they hear about it in the paper. We do, they did give us a key.
Yeah, I was just thinking because of the size of the vehicle, I don't know if it would fit in
It won't
in
fit
the
in the
parking garage.
because that's, the girl that, or, they're not girls, the director and assistant director are using my parking spot at the courthouse because it's behind a locked gate. Anytime they go and pick up the vehicle to be able to run equipment, they then have to take it and park it outside on the street and load it up and then drive it over to the courthouse and park it in my spot, so it's behind the locked gate, because it's too tall to fit in the parking garage.
Then would the highway department take care of servicing it as well then,
It would
hopefully?
be part of our budget. It is something, I think the majority of the insurance and things like that is under the commissioner's budget, so that's something we'd have to talk about with them. But again, we could put that into our budget on a yearly basis if we know, license plates are about this much and about this much in maintenance and things like that. And with the amount of money that we have available in our funds, the other option was a lease purchase, but we have the funds to buy it, so why make a payment on something else?
And Jessica, if this has to be a ballpark figure, that's fine, but what are we spending during an election year on leasing
Yeah,
vehicles?
the leasing
right?
process.
Leasing vehicles? I think it depends on how big the election is, and it's not really true numbers because this is the first year that we've taken classes out and taken equipment out, and we borrowed vehicles the first half of the year.
Okay.
So I think we're like around 2,000 right now.
We're trying to add to that we've never done.
Right,
We're able to go out and vote people at different locations during.
Sure.
yeah.
We've never done that.
Oh, and I wasn't asking the
Right.
question to make an
Right.
argument against the
Right, no, no,
purchase.
no.
I was
I
just
would
trying to
have to look
figure
at-
it out, right?
This year, we have spent a minimal amount because we've been utilizing the generosity of other departments. Again, they have work that they need to do, and it was not ideal for the coroners to let us use their equipment. We'd have to take out their gurneys, park them inside of our equipment room, load up our stuff, replace it, park,
I
and,
had a good point about, when we were looking at van rentals for the month, it was like 2,500 for a small van to haul just the stuff
Yeah.
in classes, so maybe 2,500 monthly. And that wouldn't even house they'll stand up and then.
right, that's laying the equipment down, which also isn't ideal for the equipment, because they're too tall.
Mhm.
The express load, that's not a problem laying down, but the GS200, that's a computer component that you're laying down and letting jiggle around instead of
Sure.
standing straight up where you can strap it in.
So are you just looking for like a consensus from us? Because, the commissioners and council also has to approve
Right.
this purchase then.
I want you guys to be aware. We
Okay.
make a lot of expenditures that you guys don't necessarily know about, like every time we buy ballots or every time we buy seals, but this is a very large purchase, and it's a large dollar amount, and it's a lot of taxpayer funds, and I didn't want you guys to, read about it in the paper after I go before the council and be like, hey, what are you doing? So I just wanted to, let you guys know, and if you have any concerns against it, let me know, and we'll try to get those addressed before
I like the idea.
Anything else? Okay. The next meeting now will be November 15th, 2019 at noon. Do we have any upcoming deadlines?
We do. Let's see, campaign finance reports, like was mentioned earlier, due tomorrow by noon. On October 24th at midnight is the deadline to submit for absentee applications. And that date was moved up again. Usually you'd have a couple extra days, so it's important to let everyone know that the deadline was moved up. Early vote is open. It's not really a deadline, but just an FYI. Early vote will be open on October 26th and also November 2nd. And November 2nd will also be the inspector pickup. Early vote closes on the 4th at noon, and then election day is on the 5th.
Thank you. Is there any public comment? Yes, ma'am.
My wife, Jennifer Close, who on the street border. Has anyone noticed any confusion, people going to vote and looking for candidates that are actually on next year's ballot? Okay, so
I haven't heard that
there's
confirmed.
just a lot of stuff on the internet about next year already, and sometimes people don't pay attention, they come in and say, where's the candidate on the ballot when it's a different election?
Right, yeah, no, I haven't heard any of those.
We've more gotten calls from people wanting to make sure that they're registered to cancel next year, but I haven't heard any confusion about, their eager for next year. We do get a lot of outside city limits, people out in the county that are coming in that want to vote, but there's nothing in the vote for. But other than that,
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? We'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.